and bring another piece into the game. And here things start to look very scary.
This is your daily rapid recap. So Benjamin, how this game started?
Right, so it started off with Shirov playing 1e4. Fedoseev responded with the move c5, so the Sicilian, and they quickly went into what's known as the Sveshnikov. After d4, takes, knight f6, knight c3 and e5. White played knight db5, d6, and knight d5. So this line was really popularized in the World Chess Championship match between Fabiano Caruana and Magnus Carlsen in 2018. So Fedoseev took on d5, pawn takes d5, and knight e7. So ever since that match, this became the new main line. White played pawn c4, and here a bit of a new move by Fedoseev. So traditionally the main line has always been knight at g6, but here Fedoseev goes for knight to f5. So after knight f5, how did this game proceed?
I will just use this moment and show once again to our viewers this very lovely and tricky checkmate here. After a6, if you think that you can kick off this knight goes nowhere, but instead queen comes on the side. On a4 creates this kind of discovery check and also pins the pawn on the a8 rook. And here the checkmate that I was talking about comes after bishop d7 and knight d6. So this is one way here to be checkmate, actually have been played in the actual game. And in fact here, Benjamin, after queen a4, black cannot really save the game, even after queen d7, move like knight d6 or knight c7 comes right away. And yeah, white is winning here a huge material and cannot be working. So for this reason, after c4, seems like knight has to go either on g6 as you mentioned, or on f5 as it happened in the game.
Right, so knight f5 was played by Fedoseev, bishop to d3 by Alexei Shirov. He's just developing his pieces. g6, short castles, now a6. Here white does have to move his knight, so he played knight c3, bishop g7. Here Shirov took on f5, which was really his first think of the game. Fedoseev recaptured with the bishop. Shirov played bishop e3, and after castles, Shirov played the move queen b3, which looks very natural. It hits the pawn on b7, but there seemed to be a bit of a drawback.
Yeah, and here what Fedoseev found a move bishop d3. Now this gives black a chance to have very strong pawn chain, and actually after rook to c1, we're considering also rook d1. This seems to be very similar. Black goes with e4. The pawn supports the bishop on d3. On the other hand, opens up the dark square bishop, and here moves like queen c7 or rook c8 attacks this pawn, and also on the other hand can be played f5 and f4 straightforward to attack the king side right away. So in the game was c5, and Shirov was trying to find counterplay with this move. We do have f5, c takes d6, and f4 was played here.
Right, so with f4, Fedoseev goes all out to attack Shirov. Shirov played bishop e6, hitting the queen, and here queen g5 and bring another piece into the game. And here things start to look very scary. Black wants to go f3 very quickly, and as soon as white plays g3, then he can start going for moves like queen g4 and queen h3, trying to create a checkmate on the g2 square. But here Shirov kept his cool, and he found a very strong defensive resource. He played the move d7, and after f3 he played d6 check. All right, so the king had to move over to h8, and now he played the move g3. He had to defend against a checkmate on g2, and here Fedoseev played the move queen f5. So it looks like things are looking really good for Fedoseev, because he wants to go queen h3 and queen g2 and go for checkmate, which looks more or less unstoppable. But here Shirov found a very strong defensive resource.
Yeah, there was knight to d5. This knight comes all the way to e3 to guard g2 weakness, and seems like here Fedoseev has no chance to checkmate white's king. And on the other hand, those two pawns on d5 are very strong. Now d7 is about to be promoted to the queen, so Fedoseev very quickly took the pawn on d7 and allowed white to activate rook on the 7th rank. After queen d6, white played rook to c1, doubled the forces on c file, and kept very good position.
Indeed, rook a2, a very good move by Shirov, bringing more pieces into the game. Now all sorts of sacrifices are threatening, but rook takes g7, so Fedoseev played rook to g8. Here Shirov played bishop a5, a very good move. The bishop can come back to c3 later on. Maybe he wants to go queen takes b7. So Fedoseev played bishop b5. Now Shirov captured a pawn on b7, and he's ready to bring in the other rook to c7. So Fedoseev played rook to c8. There was a bit of a transmission error here, but Shirov traded on c8. Fedoseev recaptured with the rook. And here Shirov played bishop c3. And with all the threats in the position, it's starting to look really tough for Fedoseev. If he goes bishop takes c3, white goes queen f7. And there's simply no way you can stop queen takes h7 checkmate. So after bishop c3, I mean, there's simply nothing black can do. You can sacrifice the rook on c3, but if white goes pawn takes c3, queen f7 is going to come anyway on the next move. So after the move bishop c3, Fedoseev saw no other option but to resign. So Shirov picks up a very nice win with the white pieces in round number 5. However, it seems that he's out of contention for group victory.
Yes, what a beautiful game here, a very beautiful end for Alexei Shirov. The moment he got the chance to improve his position and to show everyone that he is truly the player who fires up on the board. He showed it his best, but also on the other hand, Vladimir Fedoseev found this beautiful bishop d3 and the pawn chain plan for black, but it was clearly the day for Alexei, and he celebrated a win. And this was your rapid recap of round 5.
Indeed, there was a rapid recap, and let's have a very quick look at all the standings. So in Group A, Dmitry Andreikin and Sam Shankland are tied for the lead going into the final round. Bakro is half a point behind them, so he still has some chances maybe to get into a eventual tiebreak. In Group B, Anish Giri is still looking very, very good. He has a full point lead over Nikita Vichikov going into the final round. They will face off with Vichikov having the white pieces, so that's a must-win game for Nikita Vichikov. Otherwise, Anish Giri qualifies. And Keti, what are the standings in Group C?
In Group C, we do have still a practical chance to see playoffs in case if FIDE wins his last game against Fedoseev and Robert loses his game against Shirov. If Robert gets at least a draw out of his game in the last round, then he is a winner of the Group C. And in Group D, it's a very interesting situation. MVL is keeping the leader's position, half a point ahead. MVL and Shahriar are playing against each other. Let's take a very quick look at the matchups tomorrow. So seems to be still too much tension for the last games.